Welcome to your Tech News Today, the Monday through Friday podcast about keeping you informed and empowered by giving you the latest tech stories that impact your daily life. We'll get started in a moment. First, we'd like to recognize our partners who help make these podcasts possible. It's Friday, December 21st. I'm Mike James. Coming up in a bit, somebody single-handedly shut down a major airport with a drone, or drones, actually. Plus, you never know who will hear what you talk to Alexa about. And an iPad Pro might be a little too thin for its own good. All that on Tech News Today. We start with a dangerous act that has closed a British airport for more than 24 hours. Somebody is flying drones over the runway at Gatwick Airport, about 30 miles from London. Because of that, planes can't fly in. The disruption has been huge, affecting more than 65,000 people. 2 drones were first spotted over the runway on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Police responded and covered the airport and area surrounding it, looking for the flyers of the drones. That person has not yet been found, but they're in for a world of hurt when they are. Disrupting an airport with a drone could carry a 5-year prison sentence in Europe, and they'll throw the book at them because this is starting to happen more and more. They're not investigating this as a terrorist act at this time. Passengers, of course, aren't happy because at least 760 flights were grounded. Some passengers got to hotel rooms paid for by the airlines, but a lot are just sleeping on the airport floors. This is the second busiest airport in the UK, so you can imagine the disruption. Gatwick gets about 45 million passengers a year, and about 2.9 million are expected to go through there this holiday season. Now there's a warning about smart speakers and personal assistants. They're everywhere and more people are using them, but they're opening up a window into your personal life that you may not have realized. A German magazine says Amazon sent Alexa recordings to the wrong person. 1,700 clips of somebody speaking to Alexa were sent to somebody else who requested their own personal files from Amazon. The audio had all kinds of personal information and included the audio of the stranger in the shower. The person who received this audio was shocked enough and turned the files over to the magazine, which in turn was able to identify the original person from the files. It was pretty easy. His first and last name was spoken. Where he lived was apparent, and a personal romantic relationship was revealed. And his taste in music was also easy to figure out. The magazine reached out to the person who said he hadn't been told about the breach by Amazon. He had a house full of Amazon Alexa devices and was obviously using those to control his house. And afterward, and I'm not kidding here, Amazon stepped in and gave him new Echoes and a Prime membership. I guess they just saw it as a publicity stunt. Remember that your smart speaker is recording everything you say and talk about, so think twice before telling it any secrets. You never know who might end up hearing them. And just ahead, Apple says your iPad isn't really bent. It's just a feature. But first, let me tell you about our partners at SimpliSafe Home Security that help make this podcast possible. SimpliSafe is a fantastic security system. With SimpliSafe, there's never any hidden fees or long-term contracts, and because they want everybody to feel safe in their homes, SimpliSafe prices are always honest and fair. Round-the-clock professional monitoring will bring the police anytime there's even the slightest hint of a problem. And there are 6 monitoring centers across the country, which means nothing, not even earthquakes, floods, or tornadoes, will interrupt your protection. SimpliSafe is built for the unexpected, just loaded with safeguards. It keeps working even during local power and Wi-Fi outages. Even if a burglar smashes your keypad, the police will be on their way. Plus, the system is so easy to use. It's incredibly intuitive, and it takes only minutes to set up in your home. Just open the box, plug it in, no drilling, no wires. Order your SimpliSafe system right now at simplysafekim.com. That's simplysafekim.com. Last month, stories were going around about how bendable the new iPads are, and somebody made a video showing himself bending one a little bit too easily. A lot of people, including Apple, said it wasn't a fair test and it wasn't typical of real-world situations, but maybe he was onto something. Since then, some Apple user forums and other tech writers have said their iPad Pros have also bent after use. and in some cases they were shipped with the bend already on it. What's Apple have to say about all this? Well, they say the bend is a side effect of the manufacturing process and shouldn't get any worse. Yeah, they use that wording, shouldn't get any worse. In other words, tough potatoes. There's no clear message from Apple on whether they're going to replace the bendable iPads. Now, the iPad Pro's super thin body was called a big breakthrough and a revolution in how thin computers could be when it was unveiled, but maybe they went a little bit too far. From what's been reported, the weak spot is right at the side of the iPad where the microphone holes are. And if you have a new iPad Pro, take special care with it because a bend might not be enough, at least at this point, to have it replaced. Well, we've all done it. You got to put your hands up, then stand completely still until you're told you can move. And of course, you're not a criminal. That's just the price of admission to board a commercial aircraft these days. It's just one of the joys of modern-day travel, but one major airport is trying to make those security checkpoints a little more comfortable and maybe even faster to get through. It all starts with a brand new body scanner. If you've been on a flight over the past few years, you're probably familiar with the full-body scanner at airport security checkpoints. You step into a clear tube, put your feet on the matching feet paintings, and then you put your hands over your head or to the side, and the machine whirls around in a few seconds, and then you're good to go through. But it's not a painfully long process, but unfortunately, it can be physically taxing for some people to raise their arms, especially over their head, or for others who feel a little bit cramped or claustrophobic in that tube. Well, now there's a full-body scanner that's supposed to make the process faster by simply eliminating the whole raise your hands process. Denver International Airport is the first in the United States to use the new scanner, which went into service last week. Instead of walking into a scanner, now travelers will stand between two large vertical scanners and then find out if they will be labeled a threat. The new machine hopefully will make travel just a little less intrusive. In the world of tech, there are some things that are downright scary, like phishing emails, data breaches, and bad memes. Another terrifying thing is running unknown exe files. Not only is this scary, it's also a very, very bad idea. But after you've convinced yourself that it's probably fine, you'll realize your mistake soon as it infects all your files and unleashes viruses all over your computer and malware across the PC. Even though other operating systems have figured out ways to avoid these problems with those types of files, Microsoft Windows has not. Until now, that is. But this new feature won't apply to everyone. This week, Microsoft released Windows Sandbox for Windows 10, an isolated and temporary desktop environment where you can run untrusted software without fear of a system disaster. It's named that way because anything you install via this feature will remain in the sandbox, keeping it separate from the rest of your PC. And once you're finished using Sandbox, you just close it and the program will permanently delete everything that was inside. But don't get too excited. Right now, Windows Sandbox is only being made available to Windows 10 Pro and Enterprise users. There's no indication of when or even if the feature will ever be available to Windows 10 home users. Well, here's every person's nightmare. Somebody's going through all of your photos, even your, should we say, private photos. 6 men at a computer repair shop in Rhode Island have been arrested and accused of searching and copying media files of 13 women since 2011. They took what were mostly nude photos from phones and computers of their customers. It's even slimier than it sounds. The men would secretly take photos in the shop of women they thought were attractive. They used those photos to decide whose information to access. The women's information and passwords were then sent to a former employee of the repair shop who would access the computers and look around for any intimate images. Whatever he found, he would share back with the store employees. When he was ratted out by 2 people who work at the shop, police found a thumb drive of more than 2,000 nude photos of suspected customers, nude or not. Those are your personal photos, and of course nobody's business. Nobody has a right to go through your photos or any other files if you don't want them to. So this is really bad. So how do you protect yourself if you need computer repair or a phone repair? Well, you need to log out of all of your accounts and delete your browsing history. Also, do a complete backup of your device and then erase it. You can then replace that content later. Also, if you choose that route, we recommend one of our sponsors, iDrive, and if you use the name Kim in the sign-up process, you get 90% off. Be sure to check out anybody you use to repair your devices and search for any complaints made about them. Coming up next, just how many Christmas lights would it take to be seen from space? Right now, a quick thank you to our friends who help make these podcasts possible.
You want to hurry this up, Clark? I'm freezing my baguettes off.
250 strands of lights, 100 individual bulbs per strand for a grand total of 25,000 imported Italian twinkle lights. Hey! 25,000.
Clark Griswold figured you needed 25,000 lights to really do things up right in the movie Christmas Vacation. But how many Christmas lights does it take to be seen from space? Scientists have done the math, and they figured out that you only need just under 2,700 lights for the task, but only if they're LED lights. Now, they weren't referring to the Vacation movie, but were inspired by another one. It's a 2006 film called Deck the Halls. In that movie, a character played by Danny DeVito set out to use enough Christmas lights so his house could be seen from space. Well, doing some math, and I don't really know how they figured this out, the group from the University of Leicester in the UK figured out that 2,683 lights on a roof could be spotted from space, only assuming that you use LED lights. There is no other light pollution and a bunch of other not real-world factors. Now, to be clear, the scientists didn't actually test it out for real, but the challenge is out there, so who will be the first? You've only got a couple more days till Christmas. And by the way, once you're done listening to our podcast, if you're liking what we do, please give us a positive review on either Apple Podcasts or Google Play. And we appreciate that because it does help more people find us. And finally, for today's Commando Kicker, it's Jurassic Park all over again. A 180-year-old dinosaur fossil has been discovered. It contains evidence of blubber and skin, making the ichthyosaur much more similar to modern-day dolphins than previously thought. They're also similar to marine reptiles like sea turtles. However, they did give birth, which is associated with warm-blooded animals. For more fun and interesting facts, go to Commando.com and search for the Commando Kicker. And that's your tech news today. If you enjoyed it, check out our other podcasts. You'll get tons of great information on our Consumer Tech Update. It's packed with facts, opinion, and introduces you to the latest going on in tech underneath the surface. That's the Consumer Tech Update every Monday through Friday with Kim Commando, and that's on your favorite podcast player by searching KOMANDO or at podnet.com. Have a good weekend.